right, thank you all for coming. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the New Hartford Public Schools Board of Education, 7 PM on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please rise and join me. Flag is
in the back. Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next item on the agenda is the order of business. One item on this massive agenda for today that we do have to add is line item transfers in order to make adjustments to the books for the end of the month of June. So with 2/3 vote, we can add that item to the agenda. So can I get a motion to add line item to the agenda? And we'll do that under superintendent's report,
Routine business.
routine business.
Yeah.
Moved by Tom. Can I get a second? Second by Frank. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. That will be added under routine business. All right, next item on the agenda is communications to the Board of Education. I have received one communication that is in everyone's packet from Mr. John Puz, dated May 20th, 2025. That went to myself, Dan Jerem, our first selectman, and Carrie Guilfoyle, our Board of Finance chairperson. Do you have any additional?
Yep, I have two additional communications which I'll pass out to the Board of Education. The first was an information request from the Board of Selectmen on behalf of the Board of Selectmen from First Selectman Dan Jerem, and then my response on the back. So I will pass that out to the board for your consumption. For the record, we can make sure that Elizabeth receives one as well. And the second communication that I received was another from, again, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen from First Selectman Dan Jerem in response to the joint task force letter that we issued or sent out to the boards just recently.
One more.
You got it. Yeah, they're, any extras, I'll pass them over this way. Thank you.
All right, so
Okay, we have a lot of wonderful things to celebrate tonight and to announce. So I'm going to kick it off first, respectfully, to Dexter to kick us off with our student rep report.
We collected the highlights from the school year from each grade level. Here are the great highlights that the students learned and experienced this year. In preschool, students really enjoyed their space unit. They created their own rocket ships, painted planet rocks, and learned about astronauts as community helpers. Preschools also had hands-on learning experiences, learn about plants. Students planted seeds and documented their observations through drawings and pictures. They're growing tomatoes, daisies, and sunflowers. This year, kindergarten took the first field trip to Kids Play in the fall. This field trip matched the toy and play unit in the ELA curriculum. During the science unit about weather, students learned that weather around the world can be different on the same day. They have become tree experts by learning so much about trees and why they're important to people and other living things depend on them. First graders learned about birds' amazing bodies and how their body parts help them survive. The students researched some of the problems birds face and people can do to help them live and grow. In May, the first grade students took a field trip to the Ripley Water Flow in Litchfield to learn how local organization is helping to preserve rare and endangered waterfowl species. Students have really enjoyed becoming bird experts as well as learning about the importance of having empathy, compassion, and respect for these animals. Second graders had so much fun taking a field trip to the Peabody Museum. This field trip matched what they were learning and paleontologist unit in ELA. They also invited their parents to school to listen to their culinary oral presentations. Students shared what they researched and learned about moths, butterflies, wasps, and beetles. Second graders at Bakerville and New Hartford Elementary have been pen pals this year. Tomorrow they will meet each other at Angelini and take a tour of the school with the fifth graders tour guides.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Dexter. Much appreciated. All of the wonderful highlights. Our students are certainly busy doing a lot of learning and having fun. So thank you so much for sharing that. A thank you for Mr. Rodenberg from Region 7 for providing our student reps, as is tradition apparently now, with Region 7 t-shirts to both Emma and to Dexter. And I'd also like to present on behalf of the Board of Education certificates to both Emma and to Dexter. I know Emma's not here this evening, but we'll make sure that she gets that. Dexter, can you give her that t-shirt?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, Kristen. Much for your service to the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dexter.
All right, up next and highlighting and continuing to spotlight our students, I'd like to welcome up Tyler Bouchard and Olivia Pratt, our Litchfield County Superintendent Award winners, to please come on up. Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, come on up here. On May 6th, can you still hear me, Paul? Yeah? All right. On May 6th, we celebrated these two wonderful students for their accomplishments and their academic prowess, but also their citizenship. And just recently, they sent me the pictures. You guys ready to see these? These are the great unveiling. So here's a picture of all three of us. One for you, Miss Olivia, and one for you, Tyler. But don't go yet. Don't go yet. Just want to read a little bit about Tyler and also Olivia. Tyler Bouchard is funny, curious, and he's a hard worker. He gets his sense of humor from his papa. His favorite subjects at school are social studies and math. Tyler is an athlete who plays basketball, soccer, and baseball for New Hartford teams. Tyler likes to travel and has been to Orlando, Cape Cod, and Texas. In his free time, he likes to play video games and hopes that one day he will go viral on YouTube. During the summers, he really enjoys boating at West Hill Lake. For Olivia Pratt. Olivia is athletic, kind, and social. She is smart and loves a good challenge. Her favorite subject at school is social studies because she loves to learn about history. Olivia really enjoys sports. She is busy all the time with Torrington Pal basketball, FSC Premier Soccer, and New Hartford Recreational Softball. She also skis and is a dancer. She hopes to go to Miss Porter's for high school and then to head to college to study something that she loves. In her spare time, she creates woodworking projects with her grandpa. Please join me in celebrating our two students who received the Litchfield County Superintendent's Award this year. And I know their family is in the audience as well, so thank you so much for instilling a love of learning and being an amazing citizen in New Hartford. We really, really appreciate it. It takes a village to raise all of our children. Moving on, as we continue to celebrate and honor many that are here, we have Miss Marie Kitch, who is here with us. Miss Marie Kitch, can you come on up, please? On behalf of the New Hartford Public Schools family and on behalf of the Board of Education, we would like to celebrate and honor you for 24 years of service to all of our students, taking precious care of our children and our staff, genuinely loving and caring, not just Band-Aids, not just Band-Aids, not just my stomach hurts, not just keeping us healthy and whole. You've done so much for all of our children. We are forever grateful for 2.5 decades worth of service. We are so grateful to you. Thank you so much, Marie Kitch. And congratulations on your retirement. We will absolutely miss you.
I will miss being here. It's very bittersweet.
It is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Marie, this is a little bag, but this one, that's it. Thank you. All right, we're going to continue because wait, there's more. All right. Recently, we had our celebration of learning here at Ann Antolini School. Special thanks to Dr. Carroll, Mrs. Mathis, and Mrs. Kennedy, and Mrs. Priest for coordinating and orchestrating all of the creativity and innovation of our students. Were on display with a lot of passion projects, but also inventions that I could have never, ever thought of. There were so many. Of one that I could just recall off the top of my head was a chair in which you could sit in, and it had aluminum foil to help generate the heat that was at a campfire to your back, because it's always cold on your back, isn't it? So there were some really, really cool inventions. Another one to protect your head from injuries while skiing. The students just had so much imagination and creativity, and I applaud them tremendously. During the celebration of learning, we had different organizations that were here in attendance. Susan B. Anthony was one that was here in attendance, and they also celebrated and the partnership that we have with New Hartford Public Schools, so we're grateful for them for being here as well. And we were highlighted in their newsletter just recently. In the Board of Education packet, you'll see that there was a piece of evidence there of claiming monies that were due to New Hartford, unclaimed funds. If you haven't been on the list, please go on it on CT Gov. And we were able to recoup, which is in process now, $253.97. So that's just some fiscal responsibility and recouping funds for our town that I'm happy to report out on. Let's see here. Recently, our spring concert for band and chorus took place. A special thanks to Mrs. Melillo and Mrs. Morrow and all of our musicians for doing an amazing job. Field Day recently took place as well. Ms. Marciano and Mrs. Plord, thank you so much for all of your organization and planning, and for Trooper Fig as well for his radar run station, which was incredible and very competitive. If you ever want to know how fast you're running, maybe, just head on up there during Field Day next time, board members. And also a special thanks to Sergeant Streeter from the U.S. National Guard, who was there to also support and have fun with our students. And congratulations to our very own Mrs. Lebunchik for being recognized by Better Lesson in their Teacher Appreciation Month Spotlight. The exact quote I have here that I want to read. So Better Lesson coach Jennifer nominated Mrs. Lebunchik because of the energy she brings to improving, from experimenting with small group instruction practices to sharing her learnings and resources with her grade level colleagues. Quote, I really appreciate how you always want to dive in deeper and really understand the curriculum, making sure you're focused on what's best for kids. So congratulations to Mrs. Lebunchik as well. Okay. Moving on to some other matters. Just a quick update under the superintendent's report regarding our teacher evaluation plan. Yearly, we are to report out what's happening with our teacher evaluation plan. Are we going to continue it? Are we going to change it in accordance with the law? So our PDEC committee met in May to review the new teacher evaluation process. Overall, I want to report to the board that teachers are very happy with our new plan. The plan allows them to set individual goals that directly impact their teaching practices and, most importantly, students. In addition, this process makes teachers feel valued and trusted as they are doing meaningful, authentic work that gives them an opportunity to grow. Our professional development has complemented the goal work, and the documentation process has been smooth. We are not recommending any changes to our current plan from the TEVAL, the teacher evaluation process that we have in place. All right, making sure I don't miss anything here. Hold on a second. Okay. Moving on the agenda, just a quick update to the 2025-2026 New Hartford Public Schools budget regarding the instructional assistant and clerical aide. Those positions have been reinstated in our Board of Education budget. Special thanks to the Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, and Board of Education for all working together to make that happen. And another piece of information that is included in the board packet is that we will be engaging in collective bargaining with our New Hartford Education Association, that is with our teachers. That'll take place in the fall. So negotiation subcommittee, prepare yourselves again to spend time together with your superintendent and negotiating for our wonderful teachers. Want to make sure I got everything else. Yep, those are all of my communications for the superintendent's report.
right, any questions or comments for Jeff under the superintendent's report?
If I had a question about the two communications that you passed out, would this be the time or?
Sure.
Okay. I think when I read what what Mr. Jerem was requesting, I think he's wanting a job description.
So I clarified with him, it was not.
It was.
It was simply the positions themselves. And if
Okay.
they were shared between buildings, I added an asterisk to it. But I did
Okay.
clarify with him before responding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. That information has subsequently been added to our budget workbook as well, which is available online.
Any additional questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Board of Education Chair's Report. The one item under here is listed as the task force invitation. So in your packet, and also I believe we copied everyone via email, there is a letter dated May 8th that was sent on behalf of the Board of Education, signed by myself and Superintendent Sousa, requesting any interest in creating a task force between the Board of Education, Board of Finance, and Board of Selectmen. I can report that we have heard back from both the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen. They are both interested in creating this task force. There's going to be some items that need to be worked out, some details associated with how we do that. We have talked about potentially having a joint meeting between our boards to be able to have that discussion. Has not been set up yet. Right now, the town is busy with the town meeting tonight, as well as getting prepared for the next referendum that is coming next. Is it next Tuesday? Right?
Tuesday.
June 10th. Right, next Tuesday.
From 10 in the morning till 8 in the afternoon, in the evening, I mean.
All right. So once we have that meeting, again, we will post everybody when that meeting will occur, but it'll happen after the referendum, and try to determine how we go about the task force. And again, task force is about strategy to be able to streamline our education, streamline our educational costs by maintaining the same level of education we provide today. With the task force, if there are any volunteers from the Board of Ed, please just go ahead and send over an email to myself and Superintendent Sousa. And then again, I have already received some emails from some community members who would like to join and be involved. So if anyone else is, they're welcome to send us a note as well. Anything else on the task force? Covered it?
No.
Okay. Moving on to routine business. First item here is the approval of the minutes of the May 6th, 2025 and May 19, 2025 minutes. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Frank to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Tom.
Can we discuss them?
Yep. Open for discussion.
Okay, so on even though I wasn't here for the May 19th meeting, I did watch it online. In the minutes here, while it was great to put in for a breakdown of changes, we didn't really discuss, it wasn't really discussed at your meeting. I think it should have been a separate attachment. Here
What
in
are
the
you
front, on the first
referring
page,
to?
it says for a breakdown of the changes. It's all the bulleted items.
I went through that with the spreadsheet online, right? Exactly through that.
I don't remember hearing that be said, but I could be
Okay.
mistaken.
No, I had gone through, and again,
Okay.
I could stand corrected, but I had gone through, we had a spreadsheet that we put online, and I walked through the timeline of the budget in that virtual meeting.
All right.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments on the meeting minutes as written? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the minutes of May 6th and May 19, 2025, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. All right, next item on the agenda is the expenditure report. Can we get a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Motion by Tim. Can I get a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second by Penny. Any discussion?
Okay, there's just a couple of items, like the professional development line. It looks like we only budgeted 1,500, but already we've spent 3,000. Am I reading that correctly? It's like.
Yep, I
down.
got it here.
Okay,
Looking at you saying 1,500, encumbered is 3,250. It's on the page here.
it's on the second page.
See it under 100, 2,400, 324.
Professional.
324. 324 professional development.
Staff development and
Nope,
service,
keep
I
going
see
down.
5,000.
Keep going down.
Curriculum work.
Keep going down. It's capitalized. Professional development. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Your thumbs on it.
Professional development, 1,500. Got it.
I was just curious as to
Sure.
why it's so much more than
Yep.
what we had budgeted.
Yep, so I could look into it further. My quick knowledge of this is that professional development this year, whether we contracted with another service provider and we are being reimbursed via a grant of some type, I could look further into that.
Okay.
That would be my quick assumption, but I also know we're doing a lot of work on our report card revision. So those could be some other areas of overages for that particular line item.
Why would report card revision be under professional development?
If it were,
Isn't that the things that you do with the staff on the days that they don't have school?
yeah, it could be,
Okay.
but if there's additional work that's required, our curriculum meetings could be part of this. Again, I could look further into that.
Could you find out and let me know?
Sure, I will send an email communication to the board about it.
Okay. Then on page 3, it's like 2/3 of the way down, salaries, custodian, substitutes.
Page 3,
It looks like we
salaries, custodians.
had 2,000 in the budget.
2,800, 114. All caps.
Yep,
$2,000.
I'm with you, go ahead.
Have we spent more than what we allotted?
We have an encumbered.
Budget balance looks like it's 2,000 in the hole.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, that looks like it's $2,000 under, if I'm looking at it correct. The year-to-date expense has been 4,100 when we budgeted $2,000 for that. And that could have been due to leaves or change in salary. I could look further into that as well.
Okay. I mean, that wasn't when John left at Bakerville and we were trying to get a new custodian up here, did it?
It
So we
might
have to
have,
spend
it
more
might have
money.
had something to do with that, but I'll get
Okay.
more detailed information on that.
So when we finish this year out, which is coming up quick at the end of the month, where will we be at year end? I know at one point you thought that we would be in the red
Mhm.
by 50 grand.
Mhm.
Is that,
So I
is it
will.
closer to 0 now? maybe?
Yeah, it is closer to 0 because we've had some changes and with one particular large item regarding an outplacement. So that changed in our favor. So we will be closer to a net 0 for sure.
Okay.
And then with the budget transfers, you'll see the ones that are being requested are to demonstrate and reflect those transfers that were made to cover the legal costs and the tuition costs. And I'll pass that out just shortly.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, our budgets, just as a reminder, they don't close up completely until sometimes August and into September because
Right.
there's a carryover.
Right.
And we're paying bills that were posted pre-July 1, and we're making sure that everything's tightened up and buttoned up by September.
But I know our fiscal year ends as of the end of this month.
Yep.
So,
As someone kind of new to the board, what do you do when you're in the red? Do you have to go into non-lapsing or? how
Well,
do you
that
handle
is an option, absolutely, for the board.
Yeah, and just again, we did report that. We did bring it to the Board of Finance, communicated where we were projected to be. So it was good news to report, even the last meeting when we were there, that we were trending towards 0.
otherwise, would we have to ask them for money then?
Our plan was at the time to utilize monies from our non-lapsing account, which the board would then have to vote on, but we're not in that particular situation any longer.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the expenditure report, signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. All right, third item added to the routine business is the line item transfers. Superintendent Searso, over to you.
So the following, if you could take those down, thank you. The following represents what we are doing to cover those high costs that we were not anticipating for legal fees and also for tuitions. So this is how the board is adjusting those and accurately reflecting them. So that is the purpose of these line item transfers. Anything over $10,000 always comes before the board before we make a line item transfer.
Considering we have another contract coming up over the summer, is there going to be enough money in legal for next year to cover any extra meetings that we might have?
I don't have a crystal ball. I've projected what I thought we would need just based on that. But as the board is aware, the board is contending with another legal issue.
Okay.
And we are running an extremely lean budget. If I had to predict, I would say probably not sufficient, but I cannot with any accuracy say so until we're into next year. We will be negotiating that in the fall,
Right.
the teacher's contract.
Medical insurance is making up 185,000 of these transfers.
Mhm.
Where did we get that savings from?
So those are from folks that, based in the year before, were projected to take insurance and did not, or changed insurance, or we had other subsequent savings from people retiring or not taking the insurance that we thought we were going to, which was substantial and helped us tremendously, as you can see in this particular case.
I actually should have asked first. Can I get a motion to approve the budget transfers as requested?
So moved.
Moved by Penny. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Deirdre. Any additional comments, questions before we put it to a vote? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Okay, moving on to new business. First item under new business is the approval of a revised job descriptions for, we have a few of them, data system specialist, director, information technology, manager, finance and human resources, executive assistant to the superintendent of schools, administrative assistant to the director of student services. I'll turn that over to you, Superintendent Searso.
Thank you so much. So these 5 positions in particular, either through negotiations or through updates that were required because of new duties or new responsibilities, these needed to all be rewritten. These were significantly outdated, some by more than 10 years, as some people have been in the position for even longer than that, some up to 15 years as well. So these are updated and they come before the board as a packet of all of the positions and the requirements that are necessary for approval before the Board of Education for all of these positions. I know there was some questions in the past about what these individuals, their specific job titles, their tasks, everything that they're doing. These are the very succinct descriptions of each and every one of these positions.
Need a motion to approve before we start talking?
Yes, please. Yep.
Make a motion that we accept these revised job descriptions for the 5 positions as maybe.
Nope, nope.
Specialist, director, information technology, manager, finance and human resources, executive assistant to the superintendent of schools, administrative assistant to the director of student services.
We got a motion by Tom. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Tim. Any discussion?
I have a question. So these
Are you on?
positions are.
Are you on?
These positions are currently filled.
The data system specialist is filled. Information technology director is filled. Manager of human resources and finances is filled. Executive assistant to the superintendent is not filled. that is posted and interviews to be scheduled, and the administrative assistant to the director of student services is filled. So one of these is not. The other
Understood.
4 are filled.
Understood. Do these descriptions, revised descriptions, change, in- increase duties to a point where it would require salary adjustments in either up or down?
So data system specialist belongs to a union, so that was bargained already. Administrative assistant to the director of student services also bargained, so that's already been negotiated. Information technology director is now doing an additional supervisory component. So according to the Department of Labor, that needed to be adjusted, and that has been. And manager of human resources and finances has also been adjusted with the responsibility of supervision of our bookkeeper or accounts payable and receivable. So that one has been adjusted accordingly. And the executive assistant to the superintendent has not yet been, because we have not finalized an individual with qualifications, years of experience, and things of that nature. But in the budget, if you recall, there was a savings there from our current executive assistant to a newly hired person's to fit within that salary range. So that is still up for negotiation, if you will.
Are the last 3 not bargained? Are they not in unions?
The last 3, can you
Yeah.
clarify for me?
The, well, the information technology was bargained.
Yeah.
They're in a union. The first one
Data system specialist, yes.
is in a union.
Yes.
And then the other 3, are they in a union?
So the director of information technology is not in a union, now supervises. Manager of finance and resources is not in a union, supervises. Executive assistant to the superintendent of schools is not in a union. They're in a confidential at-will employee. And the administrative assistant to the director of student services is in a bargaining unit.
Now, when they're in a bargaining unit, we're aware, we see the contracts.
Yes.
How are their salaries decided?
So for the ones that are not,
Yeah.
so dependent on years of experience, dependent on years of service that have been within our district. Some folks have been here longer than others. So that's an adjustment, but we're also looking at market comparisons to making sure that they're comparable.
Do we have any oversight of knowing what that is? Because I don't know.
Because those are administrative, the board is entrusting that I do that on your behalf. If you'd like to ever review those contracts, they are public information. I could certainly provide them at any point in time.
I would like to know
No problem.
what they're paid.
Sure. They're also in the budget, in the budget book. It's there, it's public. It's not like that's being done without any disclosures. But I will certainly provide those contracts if the board is so moved.
Are you asking,
I mean-
how those are decided, like, we're trusting Jeff to have enough purview to understand what those
Mhm.
should be? Is that what you're asking? Like,
Yeah, I mean, typically, we don't have any feedback on that. You don't run that by us because, we have a negotiations committee that's there
Mhm.
and we're setting, we argue and discuss the contract. But these are, expenditures for, personnel that we have no say over.
Mhm.
And it just seems a little odd to me that we wouldn't have any, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's just because we went through all the negotiations with the union, right?
I do agree with you. I really think that our committee, or whoever happens to be on the negotiations committee, while we might not recommend a salary increase, I think we should at least be discussing it and give our thoughts on it,
Informed.
informed.
Yeah.
So that,
No problem.
so that all the increases are similar. And so like somebody doesn't get a heck of a lot more than the next person does.
So it's not just a heck of a lot. Sometimes it's based on market adjustment, years of experience, qualifications, and supervision. There's a lot that it entails in each position. So they're not going to all be equivalent across the board. Unless you're in a bargaining unit, that's where the board is heavily involved because it's a larger body of folks that we're negotiating with. When they're independent or at-will employees, it is typically left up to the discretion of the superintendent to ensure that we're having the most competitive wages for the positions, have quality individuals that are running the district alongside and performing their duties and responsibilities. But I have
don't
no
think
problem
we-
sharing them.
I
at all.
don't think we need, I think we have to trust that, obviously you know what you're doing. And I know there's a lot of other factors that go into it, like you just said, about experience and whether or not they're overseeing people and they have there's a lot of other factors. I don't think we need to be telling you what it should be. I think just keeping informed would be
I
a
could
good
certainly
thing.
do that.
Like, hey, FYI, this one's he's going to be asking for a 10% increase, and here's why we're going to give him a 10% increase, and just more communicative than that, than saying, hey, is that okay? Because I don't know, do we all have the purview to know that? I don't know.
The only thing is, then when the budget comes out, which is available to every townsperson that lives here, and they see that, these different positions are all getting, say, 3%, and Mary Jones over here, she's getting 7%, and this is what her job is. And then they don't say the name, but they say, this is the title. Like the dog catcher, for instance, that person's getting 7%. Well, then somebody's going to ask, why is that person getting 7% where everybody else is getting 3%?
Well, I mean, I think in fairness to what Jeff is saying, the person that getting 7% maybe has more supervisory experience, maybe got, there's so many different conditions that factor into it. I don't know. I don't think we need to get down to the nitty gritty of telling Jeff like what we should be paying salaries for people. We just have to trust he has the knowledge and experience to know what the market bears, what our budget bears. I do think just communicating is fine. I don't think we need to get into the weeds on all of that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't think Frank was asking us. He just wanted to be more informed of
Yeah.
what's going on. And I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
No, I agree.
So that if some, person that lives next door to you or you meet on the street, they would ask you the question, do you know why this is in the budget?
And then I would say go see the superintendent because we're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
So that would be what I
True.
would say.
But I mean, Jeff, I realize that Jeff has the final say so, and we do trust him to look at the
I
market
do
and
think
stuff
though
like
you're
that.
allowed to talk about that because it's public tax dollars being paid to somebody, and you have to justify it. And you have to be able to, you have to understand it. The big thing is I just don't want to not, like if somebody asked me why, I want to have an answer. I want to have an understanding. That's why I was talking about being informed.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding the revised job descriptions?
Jeff, how close are we to finding the executive assistant? Do we have a pool of candidates?
I have a pool of candidates, yeah, and they
Are you-
will be scheduling interviews in addition to a performance task shortly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm just going to add one more thing. I think it's for transparency. It's important because these are positions that you work very closely with. I mean, you're in the same office. You have probably some of the closest people, and just for optics, I think it's good to let us know and so forth. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, all those in favor of approval of the revised job descriptions for the data system specialist, the director, information technology, manager, finance and human resources, executive assistant to the superintendent of schools, and administrative assistant to the director of student services, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Okay, next item on the agenda under new business are 2 first reads of policies. Benny, you taking us through those?
Sure, I'll do those. I wasn't at the last meeting, but have you all had it to read? Do you?
feel comfortable then?
No, not really. You can do it.
And Frank was also there as well as my administration. So the first one regarding policy 511.3A and throughout with its regulation is very simply to put in place a process in which if there are any issues with undocumented students, they are to number one, notify the superintendent. We have to make sure that we're training staff and we have to comply. We are not interfering whatsoever with any investigation. So that is the point and purpose of this. We've also reached out to DATCO, our bus company, to make sure there's training there so folks are aware. Also at Advance for our cafeteria staff. This is very thorough. We want to make sure that everyone understands if an agent of ICE is here to ascertain an individual, we are not interfering. They're going to notify me. We're going to make sure that everything is legal and legit, and they will proceed as they need to. So that is why this policy is here and its regulation, should that occur.
Any questions? Right.
Is this a new policy that you came up with?
This is new. Yeah.
We had come up with it.
No, this is a CABE recommendation based on
Yeah, well, that's what I
legislation.
meant. I think it's from Kate.
Correct. Yes, yes, yes. Yep.
Recommendation back came to us that we.
Yes.
something happens.
Exactly. Yep. Part of this as well is if there is an individual that needs assistance or support, there is a listing of all of the resources on the last page in our regulation that is going to be posted on our website so that folks that need support and help, they can find those direct legal services on that last page. And again, that will be provided within our board policies as well.
But there's nothing in the budget, right?
No,
Related
this
to
has nothing, no, this is
So
just a
like resources.
Nope.
or- okay.
Nope. Existing structure in place already, and during our professional development in August and such, our administration will inform educators, our staff, and everyone else. If this is to be an issue that you encounter, here's what you do.
Okay, we have no action on that today. It's our first read, so we'll go on to the next policy, please.
Correct.
Can I ask questions about this next time?
What's that?
You
Can I ask
can.
Questions about this policy next time?
If you'd like to.
Next time?
No, tonight.
Okay,
Oh, you have more questions?
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want to move on then? You didn't hit your button fast
Not
enough.
I know, you were quick earlier. So I did, the wording on this bottom paragraph, right, it says if any member of the district community, including students, family, and staff, has questions about their immigration status.
Mhm.
Okay, who's there? Is it the member of the district community?
Yes, anybody within the community. So if they have questions on their own immigration status,
Yeah,
we are not providing them, legal information. We're going to direct them to any of these agencies or resources on the last page.
but not ICE.
Correct. That's not our responsibility. If ICE presents documentation that they need to speak with, ascertain, investigate further, that is their purview. And we're not to interfere with that.
Okay,
But if the individual's like, I don't know about my immigration status, okay, well, there's some of the resources you have, but depending on what the legal document says from ICE, it could go another way.
well, what if someone else had a question about someone else's immigration status?
They can, these are the resources that they could investigate with if they would like to. Whether they provide that information, I do not know that. Whether someone is legally documented here within the United States, I don't know if someone else would provide that information, but it may lead to an investigation by providing that information. But I wouldn't know that.
Right,
That's,
yeah, okay. So this policy is a Board of Ed policy. And so this paragraph here, if any member of the district community, this goes to all 7,000 change
people.
community members.
Mhm.
They're not bound to follow this policy.
No, this is just for us,
That's
for
all.
Board of Education members, right? But if there is someone in our community that is requesting this information, these are the resources that they could engage in, whether they send their students to us or not.
Understood. This seems like a policy for the town.
It's a-
but
it's
in
a-
our-
It's within our, yeah. Because
I'm not
peop-
trying to split hairs here, but
Yep.
it seems like it's a very broad policy for the whole town, where it's really.
yeah,
this is
Well,
our
it
policy.
defines it though as students, family, or staff.
yeah,
Right.
within district community, right?
Students, family, and staff, that's,
It's
7,000
it could encompass a lot of
Well-
people, depending on how you consider, right? Who's family and who's not.
The connection to the school.
everyone's connected to this, in this town, everyone's connected to someone in this school. All right, I'm.
No, I
getting
guess
this.
it'd be strange if someone from the community who didn't have a connection came to Jeff and
Said,
said,
"Hey."
hey, what's my immigration status?
I would say, I don't know.
Yeah, strange.
Here's where you're gonna,
Right, but I
here's
know
where
what you're
you-
saying.
What they're they
Yeah.
It seems kind of silly. Who's
Yeah.
gonna come to you and ask you what your immigration status is? I mean, does that language even need to be in there?
it's, again, to direct people as a resource. The Board of Education knows that, okay, if you want to question it, if you don't know it, here are the resources that you can look
How would you
into.
not know what your Seems like, it seems
I
like
don't
a-
know.
Seems like a
I don't know.
nuanced, seems super vague and
Mhm.
super weird.
I think the bigger issue would probably be if for some reason ICE shows up, is it an administrative warrant or is it a criminal warrant that they have? Because that's going to determine whether
How they're
the
going to proceed.
administration is allowing them in the building or not, correct?
Oh.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Tim. Yeah. He'll be on call. Yep. Okay.
Okay, is it any further questions before we move on? Going once? Yeah, go on to the next one, please. Thank you.
All right, for the next policy 5118, this is an update to our non-resident attendance for students that are not here, living here, and are going to be required to pay tuition outside of exemptions such as tuition for staff children. There's specific provisions here as well. It defines non-resident students. It also, in the regulation itself, we've updated a couple pieces of information here, inclusive of Board of Education hearing, how people can demonstrate their proof of residency is updated here as well. And then just clarifying what tuition is charged for which individuals. And it's pretty much throughout the course of the school year. This also extends it if people would like to extend their non-resident attendance, they have to request that yearly. There's a process in place here. So it's very clear and codified. Prior to that, it was not. It was more of a trimester. It was a little bit more ambiguous. So we've tightened everything up as an administrative team. Feel free to field any other questions for us. It just tightens everything up in terms of students that are, or parents or families that are requesting for students to attend our schools that do not live here. And then as well for our staff.
So this one I saw come across, and this is an existing policy we have.
And it's been updated.
It's been updated.
Yep.
But what are the changes? Typically, we're used to getting these on the first read with the highlights of the changes. So can we, again, I didn't have time to go back and compare this to our existing policy. Can we get this highlighted?
So that's why the subcommittee meets. So we're going through it and making those adjustments so that it's not an additional task for the board. So the Board of Education is, really leaning and trusting on the subcommittee to make those recommendations from CABE and then presenting it as a first read here at the board. So it's cleaned up. It's not like an outdated copy. So again, the only things that have been changed here are the provisions in which we give permissions for non-resident kids to attend here and why. And then it really just puts in, again, like that April 1st component is now in here versus it was a November kind of ambiguous component. And also tuition payments, when they need to be made. That's another element that's been updated here under number 2. And then tuition for staff children has also been updated. And inclusive of pre-K, that was another piece that was missing in this policy. So we've updated those elements, just as a quick summary.
Yeah, I guess moving forward, I'd like to see these on the first read with the highlights, right? So I can, again, identify what's changed. Not that I don't trust the subcommittee, but at the same time, I'd like to know what we're changing in the policy and then have my own reason. They were always
So
highlighted.
we know
Yeah,
what.
they were always.
what Keeps changing,
Yep.
or if it's updated.
Any questions on this policy for tonight?
Do we have that many children asking to come to our schools that are non-residents? I'm just curious.
So I would say about approximately anywhere between 3 and 5 a year
Oh,
requesting that.
Yeah, I think
Depending on situations, families purchasing a home, moving, things
I
of
think
that
the move
nature.
in, move out is what drives it.
Well, I understand that, but I mean,
There aren't people asking from other towns to come here. It's normally people who
That are-
who
that are-
live here.
I know there was that person who was building a house that took so long and lived in
Right.
another town. So, but do we typically have people say like from, I don't know, Colebrook or something wanting to come down here to go to our elementary schools?
Not typically, just the
Oh, okay.
neighboring.
It's just the ones that are like moving in and out,
Mhm,
like Tim said.
Yep.
Okay.
that's right.
Thanks.
Of course.
Any additional questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to old business. First item under old business is reports. We have Plant Facility Subcommittee. Tom, what do you have for us?
So this particular item dates back several meetings.
You got to turn.
This particular item that we're talking about tonight dates back several meetings. We haven't talked about them, but they all culminate in the HVAC reports that are available online to view. We had a first, call it a phase one evaluation of all three of our buildings. The report came back. Again, those are available online. The outcome were discussed on the May 1st meeting. The ventilation upgrades are required for all three buildings. There's a push to switch from our oil fired burners to gas fired for efficiency, propane, exactly. There's some areas in our schools that are not up to code, but they don't render the buildings unusable or unsafe. They're just not up to code. They're grandfathered in because of the fact they're built before these new codes. If we were to renovate as new, any one of our buildings, that will require a full upgrade to the current standards. And right now, the anticipated time period to bring these schools to code would be 5 years. And again, we're grandfathered in with no penalties. Is that an accurate summary? Okay, so we met with the company who you have a proposal in your packet, Petroselli. They met with us. We discussed the recommendations they saw in phase one, and we asked them to come up with a proposal to do a phase two, evaluate exactly what would need to be done and the cost thereof for each school. That is presented in the letter that you have in your packet with the title that says 30 years at the top. That's the Petroselli letter. And it talks about what they would do and the cost to do that. They're going to go through the schools, evaluate what needs to be done, come up with a plan to implement those changes to bring the schools to where they need to be. They would recommend what needs to be done and put reasonable costs associated to do that. And for that cost, for that service, they would charge us $4,900 per school, and for each deliverable package for each school. That's, in a nutshell, that's what the subcommittee worked on the last three meetings.
Okay. We don't have any action on this today, or do we?
Not necessary. This was more to report out and to put before the board what the recommendation is currently and the pricing for them to engage in this feasibility study for our three schools. That has not been put into the budget, obviously, for next year. This would be an off item or pushed down to the next year to further negotiate, maybe with our subcommittee to go back to it. But we want to put the proposal before the board so the board understands that in order to bring all of our buildings up to code, that the infrastructure of HVAC, which aged HVAC, needs to be upgraded. We have, again, a 5-year period of time to do that.
So we don't have the money in the budget for the next school year, 25-26.
Correct.
It would seem to me that we'd want to move forward on this relatively quickly if we have a 5-year
Window to do it in.
window. Have we explored HVAC grants at the state level?
No, not yet. Because feasibility wise, we needed to have a really good scope of what needs to be taken care of and then submit that.
Okay.
Yeah. Those
Then
are available at the state
The
level.
state has quite a few, and I assume that design is a part of that, or at least the reimbursement percentage.
I'm not sure, but I would find out because typically the state likes to have districts go out to request for proposals to have that be included in their reimbursement. We did not go out to bid because we contracted with them directly. So I could find out. If not, we'd have to go back out to bid and look at other companies that could provide the same type of feasibility study.
Jeff, do you have an update on the D. Dietrich situation downtown?
Nothing. No response, nothing.
The D Dietrich situation
Boilers,
is the
yeah.
boilers that we have that are, we can't find anyone to service them.
Correct.
So this plays into
Mhm.
this situation that we have a boiler downtown that when it decides to act up, we have limited resources to get it
Getting go
back
back up and
online
running.
again.
Yep.
When you say
That's here.
downtown, you're saying
That's here.
that's here, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought,
Antolini.
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's right. It's here.
The
I'm
double
sorry.
D Dietrich
Yeah.
that are up
Yeah,
here.
yes.
Yep.
So I would propose that at our next meeting, can this come back to the board? And if we have any information on grants, or again, I think that the funding source of this, we would have to look at. We don't intend on any savings this school year. This might be something the board wants to explore the non-lapsing account for.
Yep, and I will email the Department of Administrative Services to discuss and determine what the reimbursement is for those grants if we have to go out to bid for this particular feasibility study for our 3 schools.
So the subcommittee received this at the same time this week, right? So we haven't had a chance to talk about
Mhm.
recommending an action on this.
Okay.
Right.
But I think that would be a good, our next meeting, we would review that and recommend an action for the board to.
Mhm.
Yeah, the firm that you have here is a reputable firm
Yep.
in the school construction market. Okay, thank you, Tom. Any further questions for Tom on the,
So we have roughly 100 grand in that non-lapsing account? Or more than, I know we have more than that.
we have more than that?
I know we started out with 200. I don't know if we've taken anything out or what we've done at this point.
We've taken
Well, I
a
mean, this is
66,000
out,
out.
all right, so it's like 134,000, rough numbers, approximately. So if we spent this money, it would be 14,000 to do this study for all. Interesting that all 3 schools are the same price, 4,900. I mean, this is the biggest of the 3 schools, you'd think.
You know, it's all the same.
Different
It's all
pricing.
central systems though.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then from this study, we would know if it's worth us to change from what we use now, the oil, to propane.
That's one element of much more information. Indoor, outdoor air exchange, balancing,
Would it be putting
exhaust fans, there's a lot.
AC into the schools?
Yeah, there would be an AC, heating and cooling component. And they're different based on the areas. I believe that they were discussing with us, the gymnasium / cafeteria would obviously have a single air handling unit on the roof versus other classrooms, which could utilize heat pumps to
Okay.
heat and cool the rooms instead.
Okay,
Much to be explored through this process.
right.
Anything further? All right, next item
Do we
is,
need to- do you want to make a motion to bring this back in August pending, we'll schedule another meeting?
I don't think we need a motion.
You're good?
Yeah, we'll just put it
Okay.
on the agenda.
All right, got
Just
it.
make sure we note it.
I got it here. Yep, I got it for August.
And again, as Tom said, if the subcommittee hasn't,
We'll reconvene.
Yep.
Sounds good.
all right, curriculum subcommittee.
Yep. We've got a quick update for curriculum committee. Updates were given to the committee about year 2 of our implementation of EL education. And again, teachers have done a tremendous job continuing the work in modules and implementing the second component of the EL curriculum. Students are excited about the content and are producing very high quality work. Our staff has participated in targeted professional development around skills and all block throughout the year. And next, we'll focus on assessments, assessment practices, and we will be revising our report card committee. Those are the updates from the curriculum subcommittee.
Okay. Any questions on the curriculum subcommittee? All right, seeing none. Next report is at Advance. Deirdre.
Yeah, so I'll be quick. That's really the big thing that they've been working on is they crafted a letter in response to losing funding. I don't know if you guys remember, I told you they lost funding through the federal government. 8.7 million federal grant that was for the school-based mental health services throughout the Northwest Connecticut. So They have crafted a response back to the federal government, which you guys have in your packet. And Jeff, I believe, I don't know how many superintendents wrote a letter, but quite a few. You can see those letters that were also sent in response to the letter back to the federal government. They're hoping that they will reconsider taking that funding away. So that's been a big topic. So that letter has been out. And then at the April meeting, I did just get the report for May, but I guess we're talking about that in August, right? So the Department of Health and Human Services also closed 5 regional Head Start offices without notice, including the Boston office that our Ed Advance worked closely with. So that's just another thing that's kind of the buzz over there right now and something that they're monitoring closely right now. And the federal government also rolled back the extensions on the ARP ESSER funding in Connecticut. And that money did support some of the work that Ed Advance was involved with. And it will impact them if that continues to stand as is what they're hearing. But they do have a couple of other opportunities that came about to replace some of the funding. So kind of stay tuned on that. But those are kind of the bigger things going on that have really kind of taken up most of the calls. Unless you've heard anything else. No.
No, nothing yet. In the packet, there were at least 14 letters.
Yeah.
There are probably more at this point in support of bringing that back.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Deirdre. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is public comment for agenda items only. Anybody like to address the board? Just name
Well,
it.
I wanted to address the board, Jay Bailey, 575 Main Street. I was disappointed you were not at the town meeting tonight. For one, because I wanted to bring up, as you pointed out, that account you have with money in it that you're spending and talking about spending. Why is that money sitting there and you're asking for money? Was one of my questions. We know you have a couple $100,000 sitting around while you're crying broke and saying you don't have money for other items on the new budget, but yet you have extra money from the old budget. So there's a lot of people in town feel like we've been deceived. And what do you say to that?
We can't reply.
Well, what about that you have seating for 1,150 kids and we have 350 students? And we have 3 schools open and you're spending millions of extra dollars.
No comment, Jay.
But is that true? You have seating for 1,150 kids? And I was told, actually by you, the schools were all filled, by you. I asked you point blank, are all the schools filled? And you said, yes, all the classrooms are full to capacity. So are you saying that you gave me misinformation then?
Mr. Bailey, I cannot reply to your public comment.
You can't reply. You told me the schools were filled and there's 750 vacant seats. They're talking down below about you guys, you're wasting millions of dollars. You have no comment about that. You don't gonna put it on the minutes? Does that go on the minutes? You look at him, no? You guys are sad sacks.
Would anybody else like to address the board? All right, seeing none, we're going to close public comment. Next item on the agenda is executive session. Can I get a motion to enter executive session at 8:04 PM?
So moved.
And I'm sorry, and invite Superintendent Sousa.
And invite Superintendent Souza to join us.
Second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That's unanimous. And again, I think I got Tim as a second on that.
You did. I wrote him down. No comment. I will write everything down. Me and Tim.
The budget was on there, unfortunately.